Good morning, children. Sai Ram. Welcome to part 2 of chapter number 10, 18th century political formations. Children, I hope you have kept your notepad and pen ready to write down the important points. Children, in the last video, we saw the crisis of the empire and the later Mughals. Right? Then we also learned about rich harvest and empty coffers. We learned about Nadir Shah's attack on Delhi, isn't it, children? We learned how he sacked and plundered the city of Delhi in the year 1739. Children, in this session, we are going to start off with the next topic, that is emergence of new states. So, children, with the decline in the authority of the Mughal emperors, the governors of large provinces, the Subadars and the great Zamindars, they all consolidated their authority in different parts of the subcontinent. Okay. Now, through the 18th century, the Mughal Empire gradually fragmented into a number of independent regional states. The states of the 18th century can be divided into three overlapping groups. Now, let us understand them. So, the first one were the states that were old Mughal provinces like Awadh, Bengal, and Hyderabad. Okay. So, although extremely powerful and quite independent, the rulers of these states did not break their formal ties with Mughal emperor. Then, the states that had enjoyed considerable independence under the Mughals as Watan Jagirs. Now, these included several Rajputs, and the last group included states under the control of the Marathas, the Sikhs, and others like the Jats. Now these were of different sizes and had seized their independence from the Mughals after a long drawn armed struggle. All three states that they were founded by the members of the high Mughal nobility who had been governors of large provinces like Saadat Khan of Awadh, Murshid Quli Khan of Bengal, and Asaf Jah of Hyderabad. All these three had occupied high Mansabdari positions, and they enjoyed the trust and the confidence of the emperors. But Asaf Jah and Murshid Quli Khan held a Jat rank in 7,000 each, while Saadat Khan's Jat was 6,000. Children, now we move on to the next topic, that is Hyderabad. Okay. Children, Nizam ul Mulk Asaf Jah was the founder of Hyderabad state. He was one of the most powerful members at the court of the Mughal emperor Farooq Siyar. He was entrusted first with the governorship of Awadh and later on was given the charge of Deccan. Okay. So, As the Mughal governor of the Deccan province during 1720 to 1722, okay, Asaf Jah had already gained control over its political and financial administration. So, taking advantage of this, okay, taking advantage of this, that is the turmoil in Deccan and the competition amongst the court nobility, he gathered power in his hands and he became the actual ruler of that region. Asaf Jah brought skilled soldiers and administrators from northern India who welcomed the new opportunities in the south. He also appointed mansabdars and granted jagirs. So, he was a servant of Mughal emperor. He ruled quite independently without seeking any direction from Delhi or facing any kind of interference. The Mughal emperor merely confirmed the decisions already taken by Nizam ul Mulk Asaf Jah. The state of Hyderabad was constantly engaged in the struggle against the Marathas to the west and independent Telugu warriors chiefs, that is the Nayakas of the plateau. The ambition of Nizam ul Mulk Asaf Jah was to control the rich textile producing areas of the Coromandel coast in the east, and they were checked by the British, who were becoming increasingly powerful in that region. Let us move on to the next topic, Awadh. So, children, Burhan ul Mulk Sa'adat Khan was appointed as Subadar of Awadh in the year 1722. He founded a state which was one of the most important to emerge out of the breakup of the Mughal Empire. Okay, so Awadh was one of the most important state. Now let us understand how was Awadh. Awadh was a prosperous region. It controlled the rich alluvial Ganga plain and also the main trade route between North India and Bengal. Burhan ul Mulk also held combined offices of Subadari, Diwani and Faujdari. So in short, he was responsible for managing the political, financial and the military affairs of the Awadh province. Now children, Burhan ul Mulk also tried to decrease the Mughal influence in Awadh region. Now how did he do that? By reducing the number of office holders, that is Jagirdars. Now these Jagirdars who were initially appointed by the Mughals, Burhan ul Mulk tried to decrease the number of office holders or these office holders, that is the Jagirdars. And he also reduced the size of the Jagirs. Okay, so he also reduced the size of the Jagirs, and what he did was he did one more thing, that is to appoint his own loyal servants in the vacant positions. The accounts of Jagirdars were checked in order to prevent any kind of cheating, and also whatever revenues were generated, okay, of all the districts, they were reassessed by some officials appointed by the Nawab's court. So basically, this was a big shift from the earlier Mahajans and local bankers. He also seized the number of Rajput zamindaris, okay, and the agriculturally fertile lands of the Afghans of Rohilkhand. The state, that is Awadh, totally depended on the local bankers and Mahajans for loans. It sold the right to collect taxes to the highest bidders. These ijardars, okay, revenue farmers means these ijardars, they agree to pay the state a fixed amount of money. Now children, what is ijardar or ijardari? It means the system in which the revenue farmers, that is ijardar, paid fixed taxes to the state after collecting taxes from the other farmers. Okay, so I hope you have understood this. So basically, these revenue farmers agreed to pay a fixed amount of money. Okay, so what happened afterwards was the local bankers also guaranteed the payment of this contracted amount to the state. And in turn, what did they get? In turn, the revenue farmers, they were given considerable freedom in the assessment and collection of taxes. So these were the new developments. This was a big shift, okay, which allowed new social groups like moneylenders and bankers who influenced the management of the state's revenue system. So something which had not happened in the past. This was a big change. Now let us move on to the next topic, that is Bengal. So children, Bengal broke away from the Mughal control under Murshid Quli Khan, who was appointed as Naib, that is the deputy to the governor of the province. He very quickly seized all the power. Like other rulers, he also commanded the revenue administration of the state. To reduce Mughal influence in Bengal, he transferred all Mughal Jagirdars to Orissa and ordered a major reassessment of the revenues of Bengal. Not only this, children, revenue was collected in cash with great strictness, okay, from all zamindars, and this resulted that many zamindars, they had to borrow money from the bankers and the money lenders. Those who were unable to pay Okay, they were forced to sell their lands to larger zamindars. The close connection between the state and the bankers, noticeable in Hyderabad and Awadh as well as evident in Bengal under the rule of Alivardi Khan, who ruled from 1740 to 1756. Now, during his reign, the banking house of Jagat Seth, okay, became very prosperous. So, children, with this I end this part of the chapter 18th century political formations. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye and keep learning.